So today we're going to cover, today's all about the Office Forms library and what you can do with it and how you can use it. Um, Adam, why don't you talk to everybody, especially if they haven't been on these calls before, about using the chat and the moderation and stuff you're going to do?
Yeah, if you have any questions during the process of Mark making his presentation, just pop the question in the chat box and I'll try to answer it as best as I can. If we need to slow Mark down or speed him up, or to ask the question, a question that comes up, we'll interrupt as needed, but we'll go from there.
All righty. Well, let's get started. So Office Forms, it's surprising because years ago, when we built the first version of Office Forms, it was our #1 most requested feature to add to Darwin. Not that this was pre-darwin.Cloud. And since then, interestingly enough, is only used by about 50% of our clients. So this is probably very topical to make sure everybody knows what they got and how they can use it. So let's dig in a little bit. Alrighty, so the idea behind the Forms library is to take any document that people need to keep in their fingertips, especially forms. And normally we think about forms that an agent might want to have at their fingertips, I don't know, a lead paint form or a seller's disclosure form or some other kind of standard disclosure. But increasingly, you want to think about forms also as a place where you might keep a template of a buyer agency agreement or a variety of buyer's agency agreements if you offer different kinds of compensation terms for buyer agency. But you could also think about it as a place for internal forms, like maybe you have a blank copy of an independent contractor's agreement that you want to have on hand for the recruiter, or maybe you have like we have at AccountTECH, we have a security manual on all of the security protocols that everybody in the company needs to follow to, well, frankly, to keep from getting fired. And so everybody has to read that document and sign it every year. And we're always updating the security manual. So it might not just be agents that are accessing forms that you have in the company office library. It could be staff people, employees, managers, recruiters, and so forth. But let's take a look at what it looks like. So the Forms library is on the Tools menu. And if you're an owner or a staff person, it's in the Office Forms under the Tools library. And it's a list of all the forms that you've uploaded, what category they live in. And there's a hyperlink there, and you click on the hyperlink, and it downloads the form. Now, almost always people upload PDF documents. Sometimes they upload PDF forms, those PDFs that you can download, and then they're pre-set up with fields that people can type in. But you don't need to be limited to that. With the Forms library, you can upload Word documents, Excel spreadsheets. You can upload any kind of file. So
are you able to upload image files too?
You can upload anything.
So if they wanted to store like a company logo image for agents to use, you could store it there too.
Yeah, or a whole collection of them.
Yeah.
Like if you had like agents were making their own website and they wanted to have a fav icon. I don't know if that's the right pronounce, but when you do a fav icon, you have to have 6 different resolutions, so you could have the whole set of them up. Now, when an agent logs in, the agents get to the Office Forms library under the Tools menu, and it says Office Forms, and they can also download any of the documents in the library. Now, let's look at how you give permissions to this, okay? So if your agents, when they log into darwin.Cloud, or for instance, staff too, if they can't see or the Office Forms menu button is disabled, it's because over here in their role, in this case, I'm looking at agents, under the actions, they don't have Tools Office Forms enabled. That's the action that needs to be enabled, move from not selected to selected, if you want to make it available to agents or managers or administrators or front desk people or whoever, but it's office forms that you want to do. And that's the action. But one of the things that I want to show you, so here I am, I'm logged in as an agent. The agent can see all the forms that are here, but you notice that they can't add forms. This is kind of important because this is the office's forms library. It's not the agent's forms library. It's where the office is control of the official version of forms that we're distributing. If the owner logs in, or anybody on staff that has security clearance, they have the add button and they can upload and add documents to the library, but not agents. Agents can only download them. They can't upload any to the library. All right, let's move on. So let's go over how you add forms to the Office library, but I also want to cover how you set up to be able to add forms to the library. So if you click the add button here, so the add button, you're logged in as a staff person, you click the add button, you get this pop-up, and the first thing that it asks you for is what category you want to put these forms in. So if you haven't done Office forms, you haven't uploaded Office forms before, you don't have any categories, but categories is required, so you can't even start adding forms to the library if you don't have the organizational categories that you want to put them in. So you'll be stopped by that. And let's move on and go over how do you set up categories. So I'm sure lots of you guys have used the drop-down menu to customize Darwin, but in the drop-down menus, if you go to Other, not properties, not people, Other, there's a section of the drop-down called the Office Form category. And here you have a list of as many forms categories as you want to have. You can have an unlimited number of them. There really is no limit to them. But I do want you to pay attention to the alphanumeric organization of this. Like sometimes what people do is they give their categories a number and then a name. So maybe the contracts are 2, you know, maybe the closings are 3 or something. And they only do that because the forms, when they load by default, they load alphabetically by the name of the form. And if you want the related forms to be by default together on the list, but they have very different names, then you might want to use a number prefix on the categories just so that they load together when the screen first loads. But that's up to you. You don't need to do that. I've got a section here called onboarding. And if the section is onboarding, then obviously that doesn't have a number in front of it. By the way, we're going to come back to talk about onboarding at the end of this talk. So pay attention to this category called onboarding. It's one that you really might want to use. Okay. Adam, questions so far? We okay?
Jamie's mentioning that she can't see the Office form category, but I'm going to log into their software and take a look at that while you keep going.
Yeah, and it's all, Jamie, it's all a security setting. So Adam will get that set up for you. So
I guess,
so
Mark,
now
a question I would have that I assume people may be thinking of with those categories, can you restrict the categories to certain roles so that you could have, you know, categories that are restricted to agents and some that are for recruiters and some that are for staff?
if any customer ever asks for that feature, then we'll add it. But
Yeah.
you know, we're 25 years in and nobody's asked for it before. But
Yep.
if anybody needs it, we could add it easily enough. We've never had the request.
Got it.
I don't think it's particularly complicated. It'd be a little bit more to manage in the security settings.
Yep.
But not much. I mean, it's a level of granularity on the security settings that's a little over the top for most people. But, you know, there's folks, for instance, I'll give you an example. Iron Valley is an example of that, you know? It could be that Iron Valley wants to upload forms, but each of their franchises has a different set of forms they want to
Yeah,
roll
that would
out.
be a good use case for it, yeah.
That would be a perfect use case. I haven't heard anything from Adam about it, but that would be
And
That would
even
be
for
a,
like Coldwell Banker, the real estate group, they may have
Mhm.
different forms for each of their groups of companies
Yeah, well, it's true, right? Because they have companies in
in
different
different
states.
brands.
And
Yeah, different
and
states, different brands. Yeah,
yeah,
you could
so they
just make
might
it,
have
but
different library. So if anybody ever asks for it, I'll put it in to ask the programmers to do it, but nobody has yet, so. All right, well, let's go over step by step how you add an office form into the library. So, let's go back to the beginning. What did you? You're in Tools, Office Forms, you click the Add button. You get the pop-up and you pick what category you want the form to go in. And then in the next thing underneath it, it says select the file. So you're gonna browse your hard drive, pick a file, cool. And then when you when you select the file, it appears right here under the select file thing. And then you click save
Hey, Mark,
and yes,
I don't know if it's me, but there's pop-ups on your screen.
it's you.
I don't see pop-ups.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know where those came
Doreen, your system's been hacked. Can you check? You should check your antivirus, girl.
from.
All right, yeah. Okay, so you pick it and then once you click save, then when you click save, the document's uploaded. But I want to show you guys something. After you upload a document, if you go to the list, I don't know if you can see this, but the description of the file is always, always, always the name of the file. So when you upload a file, all you have to do is pick a group and select the file, and it uploads. The description is the name of the file. But if the name of the file makes no sense, or it's nonsensical, or you just don't want to have the file, the description, have .pdf at the end or something, if you click anywhere in the row where the file is listed, you get this pop-up button. This is important. If you click on the hyperlink there, you're going to get the document. It's either, depending on your browser settings, it's going to either pop up in a browser in a new tab, or it's just going to automatically download to your computer and open up in whatever is the default form, Adobe or whatever is your format. But if you click in the row, but not on the hyperlink, you'll get this pop-up where you can update the Office form. And you can change the name a little bit, or you can change the name totally. It doesn't matter. But then you'll see, if you can see down here, the file name is going to be changed to whatever you change it to. This is an important thing that some people used to ask all the time is, look, I uploaded a file and the name of the file ended in .pdf. If I change the name of the file, I change the description to be a descriptive that is not the name of the file, is the thing still going to work? And yeah, it's still going to work. It's designed that way on purpose. So to make it faster, the description is the file name, but you don't have to leave it at that. Once it's uploaded, you can modify the description to be anything you want. Okay, let's move on. So let's just talk a little bit about this is just really simple stuff, but a couple of folks in our client base have uploaded huge document libraries. I mean, huge document libraries. So it's a real big resource. But once it gets big, it can also become unmanageable. So especially for the agents, a couple of things I want to just cover quickly. When an agent's logged in, click on description and you see this, I don't know if you can see the little up arrow, click again, it'll sort descending, and that'll sort it ascending or descending by the description. Likewise, if you click on the category over here, you'll have an up arrow or down arrow, and you can sort by category, get rid of the sort by description to get all your categories looped together. But on the top of each of these columns, now I'm in the agents version here, there's a filter here and a filter there. So you can put any portion of the description or any portion of the category And you can filter it to find documents that you want to see that way. Again, but that's just for agents. The Office has these exact same features too. But if your documents run, if you upload a couple hundred documents, which is not that uncommon, you probably want to make sure the agents know how to sort and filter. All right. Questions? Because I only got one more thing to cover on today's call. Adam, questions?
Nothing.
All right, moving on. So this is something, I want to show you something about onboarding. This is very, very much a work in progress with AccountTECH. We finished our version 1.0 of our onboarding wizard, and there's tons of enhancements to come. But with the version that's out right now, I just want to show you something that's possible. So let's say different people in your company use this onboarding wizard, the recruiter maybe fills in the agent's name and office and maybe what commission plan they're on. Maybe the accounting department fills in the commission plan and the billing and the overrides. But maybe the agents fill in their phone numbers and their address, and maybe the agents fill in their license number and their license expiration date and how far did they graduate college and where did they last work, and there might be a lot of stuff that agents fill in. The agents might fill in what specializations they have or what certifications they have, the biography that the agents the biography about how they want to be described on your website or something. So when it comes to the wizard, obviously different people in your company fill in different portions of the agent's profile so that everybody's contributing to the profile and nobody has to take a paper form and then go to Darwin and manually retype what somebody turned in on a paper form, I mean, that's the point of the onboarding wizard. But you get to step 6 in the wizard and you have forms here that you might want the agent to download, like the company security policy or something, or you might have forms that you want them to download and sign and then upload again. So on step 6, this is of the onboarding wizard, you have documents here that are related to onboarding, either for signature or for information or for, handing out the company manual, or just things that you want the agents to download and so forth. Some of them might be for signature, some of them might not. When they go to the next step, step 7, they'll have the opportunity, anybody using the onboarding wizard will have the opportunity to upload any of these forms or any other forms or documents, like a copy of their driver's license, a copy of their real estate license, whatever, that you want to have stored on the agent's profile. But these forms here are a special case. How is it in the Office library, some of the forms appear here in the onboarding wizard, but not all of the forms that's in the library? And this is what I wanted to show you. Here in the wizard, you can add documents here as an administrator or a staff person. You can add forms to the wizard or not. The point is this: there was a category in the demonstration I did earlier in setting up categories. There's a category called onboarding. And frankly, every AccountTECH customer has the category onboarding in their software because we loaded it in everybody's software. And if somebody over time has removed it on your side, you can just put it back in. As long as you have a category called onboarding, any documents that you upload and you put in the onboarding category are gonna appear, oops, wrong way. They're gonna appear here in step 6 of the onboarding wizard. So any forms that you have in onboarding, they'll also appear in the library, but if explicitly they're in the category onboarding, they'll appear in step 6 of the onboarding wizard.
So all the forms that are in that category will show, right?
All the forms that are in that category, yep. And there's no way to get a form into the onboarding wizard except being in a category called onboarding. It's the only way a form gets into the onboarding wizard. So forms is pretty simple, and that's all I got.